460 childcare centres are currently shut across the country as a result of COVID outbreaks, with the vast majority of closures occurring in New South Wales. There's confusion around the New South Wales Department of Education's Test to Stay policy, released on Sunday night to centres, which relies heavily on parents getting their hands on expensive rapid antigen tests in order to keep working.
Mattlogue is working from home whilst at the same time caring for his 2-year-old daughter. Poppy was classified as a high-risk close contact from her COVID-positive daycare educator last Thursday.
2 educators in 2 separate rooms were tested positive, so we got an email originally last Friday at lunchtime to say that an educator has gone positive, but it wasn't until that night that we received another email saying that Poppy was deemed a close contact.
His wife Sam is taking annual leave days to look after Poppy later this week so Matt can go back to the office.
Obviously my wife, she had to go to work, so I can work from home, she can't. So there's numerous examples of different setups in families, so it does make it really hard.
Their daycare centre had to close for a deep clean but is now back open. But Poppy can't go because they can't get their hands on rapid tests.
Sky News have obtained emails from affected families who have children deemed high risk after their educator contracted COVID. They provide instructions centres are now giving families following new guidelines from the New South Wales Department of Education called Test to Stay. Test to Stay means an asymptomatic child can still attend the centre after exposure as long as they return a negative rapid antigen test each morning for a week, so a total of 5 rapid antigen tests. This email also says the Department of Education will eventually provide centres with rapid antigen testing kits, but for now, use your own if none are available.
The Department of Education has provided a statement to Sky News that says testing and isolation is no longer mandatory but remains strongly recommended for contacts of a positive case in ECE settings as per updated health advice. To support the management of positive cases, the department is proactively sending rapid at-home test kits to all services to allow educators to start testing following a positive case exposure and return to work so that services can continue to operate. According to the latest data from the Australian Children's Education and Care Quality Authority, who tracks childcare centre closures across the country, as of Tuesday, January 11, 460 childcare centres across the country are closed due to a health emergency. While every state and territory except Western Australia is affected by closures, New South Wales accounts for the vast majority of centre closures at 347.
So when centres close, that means generally one of these parents, quite often the mother, will not be able to go to work. And that's happening in an environment where we know labour market conditions are extremely tight. A lot of industries are under immense pressure because of COVID cases out there in the community, and they've already lost staff. So this has a magnifying effect of those very tight labour market conditions right across the economy.
But these numbers aren't telling the whole story.
These RAT tests are hard to come by, so there's no guarantee that people even can get their hands on these types of tests. And that is another failure by the government. There needs to be clarity about whether long day centres will receive these sorts of tests.
As you say, like they're running out, and it ends up being a sort of a cost on you, which is just on top of daycare and things like that. It is expensive. So yeah, it makes it difficult, and everyone's in the same position. But yeah, it's not easy being a parent as it is, let alone when you've got COVID thrown into the mix.
These disruptions to childcare have not only caused a huge amount of stress for families through the pandemic, but according to the Grattan Institute, there could be longer-term consequences as well, especially for female worker participation rates.
The real concern is, given the waves of impacts, that we might actually see parents just think, goodness me, this is too hard, I'm going to take a step back from the workforce. This is an incredibly important part of the gender equality story. We've seen this big ramp up in female workforce participation rates in recent decades, but they have taken a hit during COVID.
If rapid test supplies aren't provided by the time schools return next month, parents of primary and secondary students face the disruption currently plaguing the childcare sector. Kenny Heatley, Sky News.